The Village of Harmony, a funny story of peace and togetherness. In the small town of Willow Creek, people lived side by side but barely knew each other. Neighbors avoided eye contact, the postman delivered mail like he was escaping a crime scene, and the town meetings had fewer attendees than a broccoli eating contest. One day, old Mr. Thompson, who had seen enough of this silent movie life, put up a big sign in the town square. Free food and coffee, no catch, just bring a smile. And no, it's not a scam. At first, people approached the table like it was a trap. Free? What's the catch? Is it leftovers? But the smell of fresh coffee was too strong to resist. One by one, they started showing up. Mrs. Garcia brought her famous apple pie, which mysteriously disappeared in minutes. Mr. Lee taught kids how to fold paper boats, which ended with one kid trying to sail in the town fountain. Even grumpy old Mr. Jenkins came by, though he claimed it was only because his dog dragged him there. Day by day, the town transformed. Someone started a good news board where people could share happy updates, though one guy kept posting, "I finally found my missing sock." Teenagers set up movie nights, and instead of ignoring each other, neighbors started gasp talking. One night, as everyone sat around a bonfire, Mr. Thompson grinned and said, "See? Turns out, human interaction isn't as scary as y'all thought." The town laughed, and for the first time in years, Willow Creek wasn't just a place where people lived, it was a place where they belonged. Lesson: peace isn't about living quietly, it's about living happily. And sometimes, all it takes is free coffee, a few good laughs, and a guy willing to risk it all for a missing sock to bring people together. Siblings, chaos, and success, a funny brother-sister story. Liam and Emma were like every other brother and sister. Half the time, they were best friends, and the other half, they were at war over the last slice of pizza. Liam, the older brother, was responsible, kind of, and Emma, the younger sister, was a genius at getting what she wanted, usually by outsmarting Liam. One day, Emma had a brilliant idea. She wanted to start a small baking business. The problem? She was terrible at baking. Her cookies were either burned to a crisp or so hard they could be used as hockey pucks. But she was determined. Liam, being the supportive brother, and also fearing for their kitchen safety, decided to help. "Emma, if your cupcakes are supposed to be edible, why do they bounce?" he asked, dodging one she threw at him. After multiple disasters, including a flour explosion that left Liam looking like a snowman, they finally created something decent. Emma set up an online store, while Liam handled deliveries, mostly bribed with extra cookies. At first, sales were slow, but after Emma convinced their grandma to post a dramatic 5-star review, orders started rolling in. One day, their biggest order came, a huge batch for a birthday party. Everything was going great until Liam, in true older brother style, tripped and sent the entire box flying. For a second, time stopped. Then, they stared at each other. Then, they screamed. With only 2 hours left, they pulled off a miracle, and maybe called in some favors from their mom. They delivered the cakes just in time, and the birthday party was a hit. As they counted their first real profit, Emma smirked. "See, I told you I'm a genius." Liam rolled his eyes. Yeah, just don't burn the house down next time." Lesson: success isn't just about skill, it's about teamwork, quick thinking, and sometimes, tricking your grandma into writing reviews. Brothers and Sisters May Fig Brothers for Life, a story of care and chaos. Tom and Jake were like every pair of brothers. One was the responsible one, the other was, well, let's just say, a walking disaster. Tom, the elder brother, had always looked out for Jake, whether it was helping him with homework, covering for his pranks, or reminding him that no, you cannot microwave metal. One day, Jake decided he wanted to start a business selling homemade hot sauce. The problem? He had never made hot sauce before. But confidence. Oh, he had plenty. Tom, knowing this could end in either success or the fire department showing up, decided to help. After a full day of experiments, and a kitchen that looked like a science lab explosion, Jake finally made his legendary sauce. They proudly tested it only to discover it was so spicy that even their dog ran out of the room in fear. Jake, gasping for water, looked at Tom and said, "Bro, I think I just invented a weapon." Instead of giving up, Tom encouraged Jake to try again, this time with less chili and more common sense. After weeks of testing, and Tom sacrificing his taste buds, Jake finally got the perfect recipe. They started selling bottles online, and within months, Jake's blazing sauce became a hit. Through all the chaos, failures, and near disasters, one thing remained constant: Tom always had Jake's back. And when success finally came, Jake knew he couldn't have done it without his brother. Lesson: brothers may fight, prank, and occasionally set the kitchen on fire, but in the end, they're always there for each other. True success isn't just about winning, it's about having someone who believes in you, even when you accidentally create a biohazard in the name of business.ht, but at the end of the day, they've got each other's backs, even if one of them is a complete mess in the kitchen. The power of kindness, a neighbor's care, with a funny twist. In a quiet neighborhood in Chicago, Mrs. Anderson, a retired schoolteacher, lived alone. She had spent her life helping others, but after her husband passed away, she felt lonely. Most neighbors were too busy scrolling their phones or binge-watching TV shows to notice her. One day, a young man named Daniel moved in next door. Unlike others, he actually looked up from his phone long enough to notice Mrs. Anderson sitting by her window, staring like a cat judging the world. Feeling adventurous, he knocked on her door with a smile and said, "Hey, need anything?" She squinted at him and said, "Unless you can make my arthritis disappear, probably not." But Daniel didn't give up. He started with small acts, carrying her groceries, fixing her squeaky door, and shoveling snow, which, considering his coordination, looked more like an Olympic ice skating fail. Mrs. Anderson, amused by his efforts, started giving him life advice in exchange, mostly on how not to break his neck while being helpful. One day, Daniel had a grand idea: a neighborhood gathering. He went door to door, convincing people to come out. When people saw free snacks were involved, they showed up. Soon, the neighborhood turned into a real-life sitcom, neighbors laughing, sharing stories, and discovering that the grumpy old guy from across the street was actually hilarious. Mrs. Anderson was no longer lonely, and Daniel realized that kindness, and a good sense of humor, could bring people together. The neighborhood was never the same again, partly because now everyone expected Daniel to organize BBQs every weekend. Lesson: helping others doesn't have to be serious all the time. Sometimes, all it takes is a little effort, a few laughs, and maybe the promise of free snacks to bring people together. Rising from failure, the journey to success. In a small town in Texas, Jake always dreamed of becoming a successful entrepreneur. He grew up watching his father work tirelessly at a local store, but deep inside, Jake wanted more. He wanted to create something of his own. At 25, he took a bold step. He invested all his savings into starting an online business. He worked day and night, sacrificing sleep and social life, believing that hard work alone would bring him success. But things didn't go as planned. His business failed within a year, leaving him with debt and disappointment. For weeks, Jake struggled with self-doubt. Friends and family advised him to take a regular job, but deep inside, he knew failure was just a lesson, not the end. He studied successful entrepreneurs, analyzed his mistakes, and realized that persistence, strategy, and patience were the keys to success. With a renewed mindset, he started again, this time with a smarter approach. He focused on learning, networking, and adapting. He built a brand that solved real problems for people. The journey was still tough, with countless setbacks, but he refused to quit. 5 years later, Jake's business became one of the fastest growing in the country. The same people who doubted him now looked up to him for inspiration. He proved that failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of it. Success is not about never failing, it is about rising every time you fall. Keep going, keep learning, and never stop believing in yourself. The janitor who became a CEO. Michael Carter started as a janitor in a prestigious financial firm, working hard and dreaming big. Instead of seeing limitations, he saw opportunities. Late at night, he studied financial reports and business strategies. His dedication caught the attention of the CEO, who gave him a chance. Through perseverance, Michael climbed the corporate ladder, eventually becoming a successful entrepreneur. His journey proves that no job is too small to be a stepping stone toward greatness. The barista who built a coffee empire. Sophia Williams was just a barista with a dream to create her own coffee brand. With limited funds, she started a small coffee cart, serving unique blends she crafted herself. Her passion attracted customers, and one day, an investor saw her potential. With funding and relentless dedication, she expanded her business into a nationwide coffee brand, proving that small beginnings can lead to massive success. The homeless teen who built a tech empire. Jacob Adams lost everything at 16, finding himself homeless in New York City. But he refused to let his circumstances define his future. Spending days at a public library, he taught himself coding. A chance encounter with a tech entrepreneur led to his first job in the industry. Years later, he launched his own AI startup, creating innovative solutions for businesses. His story is a testament to the power of knowledge and determination. The farmer's daughter who became a NASA scientist. Growing up on a farm in Kansas, Emily Carter was expected to take over the family business. But she had bigger dreams working for NASA. She studied under candlelight, earned scholarships, and faced numerous rejections before securing a role in the space industry. Her groundbreaking contributions to interstellar travel prove that no dream is out of reach with persistence and hard work. The college dropout who revolutionized fitness. Derek Thompson struggled in college, knowing traditional education wasn't for him. He turned to his passion: fitness. Posting free workout videos online, he gained a small following that quickly grew. With consistency and innovation, he built a fitness empire, launching a popular app and training celebrities. His journey shows that passion and perseverance can be more valuable than a degree. The single mother who built a fortune *. Lisa Rodriguez was a struggling single mother, working multiple jobs to support her child. With little to her name, she started selling handmade jewelry online. Initially, sales were slow, but she never gave up. Her unique designs gained attention, and within a year, she built a thriving business. Today, her jewelry brand is sold worldwide, and she uses her success to empower other single mothers. Your journey starts now. Each of these stories proves one thing: your current situation does not define your future. Success belongs to those who take the first step and never stop moving forward. Are you ready to chase your dreams? The journey of the unseen artist. In a small, bustling town lived a woman named Maya. She was known for her unusual habit of sketching on napkins at the local cafe. Day after day, she would sit in her corner, coffee in hand, drawing the world around her. Each napkin bore the face of a passerby, a scene from the park, or the beauty of a sunset. However, there was one thing: Maya didn't believe that her art could ever matter beyond the confines of those napkins. Maya worked a regular job as a librarian, where she spent her days surrounded by the stories of others, but she kept her own story locked away. She poured her heart into every sketch, yet every time she considered sharing her work, self-doubt silenced her. Who would care about what I have to say, she would think. There are artists out there who have studied for years. I'm just a hobbyist. One chilly autumn evening, as she sat in her usual spot, a storm rolled in. The cafe was packed, and she overheard a group of art students sitting nearby. Their conversation was lively as they discussed a local art competition titled Voices of the Community. The goal was to showcase the hidden talents of local artists and provide a platform for those who felt unnoticed. As the people around her laughed and shared their stories, Maya felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps her art could have a voice after all. But as quickly as the hope appeared, the voice of doubt returned. She collected her drawings, folded them neatly, and left the cafe without a word. That night, she laid awake for hours. Her heart raced as she imagined her work displayed in the community gallery. But her brain was a battlefield, filled with worry. What if no one liked it? What if she made a fool of herself? Then, just as she was about to give in to her fears once again, she remembered her sketches, the joy that came from watching how people lived and loved, the way her pencil captured not just faces, but emotions. With a newfound resolve, she collected her best napkin sketches and worked through the night to create a few larger pieces. Each brush stroke was filled with her doubts, dreams, and all the beauty she had seen through her eyes. After days of labor and 100 moments of questioning her worth, she submitted her work to the competition. Weeks later, as the opening night approached, Maya's anxiety grew. She arrived early, hiding at the back of the gallery, her heart pounding in her chest. When the doors opened, people streamed in, and she watched as they were drawn to her section. One by one, people began to engage with her work, pointing and laughing, sharing their interpretations. She smiled as she overheard a mother tell her daughter that one of Maya's drawings reminded her of a family picnic they had last summer. The judges soon made their rounds, and Maya stood frozen in her spot, fearful of recognition. To her astonishment, she heard the soft-spoken artist judge say, "This is what art is about, the reflections of our lives, captured through a unique lens." Maya learned that her sketches weren't just representations, they were meaningful stories reflecting the community around her. As the night went on, she heard laughter, gasps of appreciation, and even saw a few tears. Finally, the moment came when the winners were announced. Maya's heart raced as she held her breath, and then, her name was called. She was awarded first place for her contributions to the community through her art. Overwhelmed with joy and disbelief, Maya stepped forward to accept her award. As she stood before the crowd, she realized this was her story, a story of courage, creativity, and resilience. Maya was no longer just the unseen artist sat in the cafe, she was a voice, a storyteller, and her art mattered. From that night on, Maya continued to create, not just for herself but for everyone who felt overlooked. She hosted workshops, mentored young artists, and shared her journey, inspiring others to embrace their passions. Each sketch became a testament to the power of vulnerability, reminding everyone that sometimes, the stories hidden in plain sight can light the way for others. In the heart of that little cafe, many napkins were drawn, but they became so much more than just paper. They became a source of inspiration, a reminder that each individual holds a unique story waiting to be told, and that it truly is never too late to share your voice with the world.